the very similar kind of a thing related with what is there being done in South Korea and Singapore. What it does, it tracks your GPS movement. So let's say someone is on the home quarantine, but someone is being tested positive and is being in home quarantine and is going out. Okay, so the authority will come to the they will come to this knowledge that okay, this person is going out, so they can go and contact him and say, okay, don't go out, something like that. So I'm not very sure about the privacy part, and related with the privacy, uh, it's a kind of a thing like when you install any kind of app, your privacy is already compromised. Like Facebook is known for that. Facebook was being charged for this basic stuff, that you have leaked all the private information to and sold the information. So when you use Gmail or Facebook, it's already there. So I'm not very sure about this Arogya Setu app, but I feel it is based on a very similar model which is being used in Singapore and South Korea to track people.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hello, sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
Sir, you talked about people who are not showing the symptoms at the moment, and
Yeah.
And later on they found that they have the symptoms.
Yes.
Meanwhile, they may have infected others.
Yeah.
So how do we know that after passing the stage 1, after passing the first infection, they will not be the carrier of coronavirus, and later they will not affect.
Okay, so what you are asking is, let's say that a person who has already, so what if I understood your question well? So I'm just trying to rephrase the question. The first question you are asking is about the asymptomatic carriers, and the second question is about once a person has been treated, whether he will be again a carrier or not.
Yes.
Okay, so regarding the asymptomatic carrier, so one other thing which was told to us when things were going on, our lab professor he told us, assume that all of us has coronavirus, so be at home. Okay, so you don't go out, you don't infect others. So that was the first thing. So we have to assume that we have this virus, we have to take all the precautions. Maybe our immunity is so strong that it is not letting the symptom to come out, and we are safe. So that's the number one rule. So you don't have to travel unnecessarily until at least few weeks from now. The second thing about the repeat of a person who has been treated would be a carrier or not, it's a still in debate, because there have been certain reports from South Korea where they found that some cured patients are being positive, but there are some counter report like which say that in most of the diseases you can see, in the viral diseases, that you can see the traces of this thing, but being infective will be a bigger thing. Infection won't be there. Like as per my basic understanding of immunology, if I understand it well, that once your body has produced an antibody, it will be very hard for you to again get infected unless the virus has mutated. So that's the point. And the virus takes some time to get mutated. It doesn't happen like in one day it will get mutated. No, it will take at least a season. For example, that's why we are hearing a lot of reference to Spanish flu. Spanish flu happened around 1918 to 1920. It happened in the phase of 2 years. The first wave was okay, but in the second wave it came with a deadly mutation and it killed a large number of people. So that's the point. So we have to wait, but yeah, taking precaution is the most important thing we can do right now.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Anuragji,
Huh.
Gaurav from this.
Yeah.
Is there any incidences of this plasma therapy? Question one, plasma therapy. Nowadays, Ganga Khedkar and they are trying going for those things. Second question is that whenever there is some hotspot sort of thing, they used to make a red zone for 2 kilometer radius and something like that. Oh, what could be the philosophy behind that?
Okay, so for
Logic.
the plasma therapy was first used in China, and it had shown some positive result. Then it was used in other part of the world. Now US is using it extensively. So the plasma therapy, what they do, they extract your blood and they extract that particular antibody, and that is being injected into the seriously ill patient. Since antibody, what it does is, like, let's say this is like an antigen, and then the antibody will go and lock here. So the antigen is of the virus, and the antibody will go and lock, and then it will destroy the virus. That is what the antibody role is. So if a person who has recovered from it, so it has produced the desired amount of antibodies, and that will go and kill that particular virus in someone who is very seriously ill. So that's the number one point about the plasma therapy. And currently, when we don't have any kind of treatment, then plasma therapy is one of the treatment, and that's why the ICMR has also asked for a large number of trials, and to see, and it has strictly instructed it should be used on very seriously ill patient. So that's the number one point. The point about red zone and keeping a 2 kilometer radius, it's all about inhibiting the movement, because if there is a red zone and let's say they don't inhibit the movement of that particular area, so red zone means number of positive cases are very high. So let's say that you are in the south X part of Delhi, and around the Akash Institute, there are a large number of people who are infected, and if that area is not sealed at least 1 or 2 kilometer, what will happen? Because we as a human being has a very good tendency to break the law. Whenever we are said don't do this, we want to do that only, because that is what I have been seeing in the news, that people who have been stamped with home quarantine on their hand, they were found traveling in the train when you are being asked not to go out. So that's why they are putting a strict measure, putting police forces. And it's not only true for Indian people, it is true for Italian as well as for American. Italian people, you would be surprised to know that even after this much disaster which has happened in Italy, when the Easter was coming, everyone requested don't go out, but police charged around 30 to 40,000 people breaking the law. So it's our symptom, it's our habit to break the law. Whenever something is imposed on us, break that rule. So it is important that strict measures are taken up, because yeah, otherwise what will happen, instead of that south X region, the whole, like, if a person go out, and what you must be hearing about, there is a term called R naught. R naught is something, a mathematical term which says that how much a single person can infect how many human being. So normally they say okay, it's 2.2 or 3.1 or some number, but it's a mathematical term. What happened, especially in the case of South Korea? South Korea was completely under control till the case number 30. But when this patient number 31 came in, she broke the home quarantine rule. She went into the church, she went to the 3 or 4 marriages, and she was the one who infected, I think, around 4,000 people. And in South Korea, the number of cases is around, till now, is around 11,000. So see, you can infect a large number of people if you are in a gathering. So that's why putting a strong restriction is required. So that is what I feel about putting a restriction of at least 2 kilometer, that you are not going outside, and it's a preventive measure.
So,
Any other question? Anybody? Please ask. Still, the speaker is with us, so I request all of you to please ask your queries and questions with the speaker.
Right.
With the speaker.
Anurag,
Yeah,
I just started your reflection,
yeah,
even though it may be a myth. See, the whole thing started in Wuhan, where you have a BSL-4 facility,
yeah.
and they have been doing research on coronavirus, and they have been also developing vaccines for different type of and housing and harboring all this, storing all this virulent, contagious pathogens in these labs. So I will give a hypothetical situation. One of the interns getting infected and then coming out and spreading it in the Wuhan wet market and then getting into other countries. What do you, how do you react to this hypothesis or
This, this, sir, the thing is, this hypothesis could be a true hypothesis because the point here is what recent studies are showing that even though they are BSL-4 lab, but their safety measures were not like BSL-4. So like when we work in BSL-2 lab also, I'm not talking about BSL-1, but when I work in BSL-2 lab, we have to take a very strict measure because we are working with living organisms, and we make, like, if we do a small mistake, I may get infected, and
right?
I may infect other people without knowing myself. So it is a
Exactly.
strong possibility, and that is why. And now, since the China has put another curve that people will not in China, in Chinese research institute also, they will not investigate what is the origin of the virus, shows that it could be a possibility, but I'm not sure, right? Like, because now the even Pentagon and CIA is also investigating it, so we have to wait for it. It could be a possibility, but
Yes.
again, this possibility doesn't say that it is a bioweapon or a kind of a man-made. It is a
Right.
possibility that a person get infected and he comes out and he infects without knowing anyone.
Because one hypothesis is, they have been doing a CRISPR-Cas to
Okay.
develop a vaccine, and so you have two HIV as well as the malaria. So they were trying to give anti-HIV, anti-malaria using CRISPR-Cas to join the to develop a vaccine using that for a corona type of virus. So when they were doing such experiments are going on in that lab. So that could be one possibility. The other thing is getting an epicenter there. And if you see the statistics in Beijing as well as in the Shanghai, if you look at the incidents, that which are the two major areas, one dealing with the capital, the other one being a business center. If you see the incidents, it's absolutely minuscule as compared to the epicenter which was there in Wuhan, which is not very far from these countries. So how do you respond to this? And
Yeah,
also
so
none of their, whereas we have some of the MPs, MLAs getting positive, and when none of their political leaders, at least not reported, that none of them, and the incidents in Beijing, Shanghai, as well as is much less. So is it their communistic rule? They totally blocked it, and they used
no,
to
no.
drag the complete dragon for controlling it, or how do you respond to that
Okay,
situation? What is
I
your
would I would go with a very simple hypothesis that I don't trust Chinese data. Whatever data they have given out, I don't trust them. And the
right?
recent investigative journalism by German news agency, they found that in Wuhan itself, the number of death, because now they have started distributing the urns of the dead people. So with that investigation, they found out that the number of death is around 50,000 in Wuhan itself, and the total number of death across China is around 1 lakh. So they have, and due to these kind of pressure, 2 or 3 days before, China suddenly increased the death toll by 50%. And if you
Right.
see the response from France, US, UK, and now even Australia has asked for a global investigation that how come, because if you remember well, when it was happening in China, the world was not taking it seriously. But when the epicenter became Italy, Italy is a democratic country. It doesn't hide the data. It came out with all the original data. It gave you the complete detail. Earlier their data, like what are the problem with the Chinese data? The first problem was they didn't report the exact number. Second problem, when it came to the symptom of the patient, they didn't went into the detail of the symptom, but what are the actual details. Now the details are coming in much broader aspect. They didn't say about that you need so many ventilators, that so many people are going on to the serious stage. So that was the second problem. And then China, being a communist country, they have to hide all the information. What happened in Chernobyl, like when the nuclear accident happened, they tried to hide all the information until one of their own scientists turned to be a whistleblower and blew the lid off. So that's the problem with the communist regime. But so I don't trust the data, because if that was the case, why the companies even in the Beijing and other places were shut down? That's the question. During that time, why the companies were shut down? Why didn't, like, and the similar kind of problem is happening in US. Trump, being a businessman, he doesn't want to hit on the economy, and he want to let people suffer. And just to protect the image of US, he was reluctant to act on any kind of measures which were being suggested by his scientific team. And even now, he is 2 days before he was tweeting that liberate Michigan, liberate Mississippi, and all the states which are under the lockdown. So this is just a stupidity and nothing else. You cannot play with the life.
Yeah. There are two more questions.
Yes.
One is with regard to the treatment. See, putting the on ventilator when the lung itself is totally inflamed, and then you are putting a positive pressure on the lung with a normal air, and the oxygenation level going down to a very low level. All these patients were hypoxemic, and if you see the SaO2 levels, it was very, very low in these. So when you have such situation, is it not better to give a treatment that is increased oxygen, that is 100% oxygen in pressure, with positive pressure, so that you put them in a hyperbaric chamber with hyperoxic condition. So even if the hemoglobin is not there to carry the oxygen, you can still have the plasma having the oxygen, taking care of the vital organ, because ultimately it is the multiple organ failure or kidney failure which happens due to the hypoxemia, severe hypoxemia. So won't you like to look at the treatment itself, either the oxygen to be given at their lower pressure rather than putting them on ventilator and give them the positive pressure? You are in fact further damaging the respiratory alveolar system.
Sir, I wouldn't comment on this because this goes beyond my knowledge database. I am not a medical practitioner. I am a immunological researcher, so I wouldn't be able to comment on this, because how ventilator works, I just know it, and whether it's a better thing. So it will be wrong from my side if I give a comment and which
Right.
I don't have knowledge. So I would not be able to comment on this, sir.
Is there any other question from anyone? Otherwise, I will just conclude by thanking Anurag and also
Sir,
Pallav.
Sumit sir, are you there? Dr. Sumit Gupta?
Sumit?
Dr. Sumit Gupta? Sumit sir, are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm here, sir.
Yeah.
Hello.
Sumit sir, please ask all the. Sumit sir, I request you to please take a feedback from all the faculty members, so that if they have any other question, they can ask later on his email ID or something like that.
But it has been a wonderful interaction.
Any other questions from the audience, from the faculty, students?
But I like to give to all the listeners also one message. See, we are all positive, thanks to God as well as your own immunity. But I would request all of you to have a good look at lifestyle, because such coronas are going to come with the climate change, pollution, your immune system being knocked down, it's not being taken care of properly. So you need to really tone up your immune system. Once your soldiers are good, what type of coronavirus comes can be fought. But then, so the message I like to give, go back to your lifestyle. Look at your lifestyle. Go for a walk. Go do yoga, meditation, a healthy diet, like taking garlic, or it's adrak, or it is gargling and throwing out all the pollutants which are there stuck to your mucus in the upper respiratory tract, cleaning them up every day. So all this, will give protection. So prevention is better than cure. So that is one lesson I like to give, a positive message, that if your immune systems are good, any pathogen need not be only coronavirus. So I am now 71. I can tell you that I have never been hospitalized in my 71 years of life. So I do yoga every day. I do gargling every day. It's not to boast about my health, but the message I want to give is, please do take care of your health, because you people are the future. Many of them are youngsters. And now your immune system is good. But when you come to my age, I would like to see you in a better health. So take the right kind of diet. Instead of junk food, take vegetables, fruits, alkaline food more than acidic food. And then vegetarian diet is preferred. And all these are very, very, avoid sugar. The sugar, totally avoid sugar. And also take the adrak is very good, and also turmeric, the curcumin is very good. So all this, take it in your diet. Our Indian diet, fortunately, is very rich in these antioxidants, health supplements. Everything is there in your food. If you take the right food, have the right lifestyle, you will be healthy forever. So that's the positive message I would like to give. And otherwise, I like to thank Anurag for this wonderful lecture. I learned quite a bit from you, Anurag. I'm sure all others who are listening to this, and then this is also recorded, so naturally people will listen offline and they will put it on the YouTube. And like to have such exciting things, and stay safe in Italy. And we thank God for your good health, as well as the good research activities which you are doing here, because you are representing India there in Italy.
Yes, sir.
So take care of the people there and come out with some innovative solutions. Best wishes for your family.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Anurag sir, for this wonderful lecture. And I am very much happy to listen to you after a long period of time. So there has been a few delegates who have attended this lecture from other university as well. One Professor Girish Sharma is there. Professor Girish Sharma, Anurag sir, is he known to you, Professor Girish Sharma?
No, I don't know.
One Professor Girish Sharma is there. I do not know whether he's from. Hello, is there Professor Girish Sharma?
Yeah, I am from MIT Institute of Biotechnology, AIB.
Okay, right. So
He
Professor
works on cancer epidemiology.
And another is the MIT Center for Cancer Epidemiology and Cancer Research.
Okay, so can you share some of your experience over here?
Professor Silva Murthy has covered everything. Basically, I am also working on the antioxidants and cancer chemo prevention, where the use of the immunomodulator is the key to curb many diseases, and irrespective of the fact that whether we are dealing with the coronavirus or maybe other diseases. Thank you.
Okay, right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
So, thank you so much. Sumit sir?
Okay.
Sumit sir?
Hello. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sumit sir, over to you, Sumit sir.
So
this was a wonderful sir. Sumit sir, you wanted to conclude, please?
Hello.
Yes.
So Anurag sir, it was very wonderful
You can
lecture.
listen.
Everybody, took the various insight of COVID-19 coronavirus. So it's really helpful for all of us, our students, faculty members, and some other people those who are the part of this lecture. So I'm very much thankful to you. I mean, giving some time for us. So on behalf of Department of Mechanical Engineering, MIT School of Technology, on my colleagues, the